This is despicable and obviously designed to frighten you and your children into stopping, I guess, air travel. Maybe it's just me, and I live in New York, in the New York area. Things falling onto the streets, passing buildings, not cool. Not cool. The average European flight produces 400 kilograms or 880 pounds of greenhouse gas. That's what this is all about. Stop flying. That's the average weight of a polar bear. So do polar bears die from these gases? Is that the conclusion that we're supposed to draw here? I mean, it's interesting that in an age of air travel, in an age where the airplane has transformed everything, and air travel has had an explosion, so has the polar bear population. Let's track this. In 1970, remember this date, in 1970 there were 383 million airline passengers. In 2008, over 2 billion passengers. The number of flights have increased 5-fold in the same time period. The polar bear population has also reportedly increased 5 times. In 1970, there were 5,000 polar bears. Today, 25,000. According to the U.S. National Snow and Ice Data Center, a glitch in the satellite sensors caused scientists to underestimate the extent of the Arctic sea ice by 500,000 square kilometers. That is the area the size of California. Do you remember this ad? And oh, he's flying in he has no more ice. It was a satellite glitch, meaning the sea ice level at the end of last year the same as it was in 1979 when satellite monitoring began. Yes, it appears that all their homeland, their hunting ground, the largest of any animal on Earth, is all still there. But these hysterical climate change zealots, they want to stop air travel. Let's think this one through, gang, shall we? Without air travel, business would grind to a halt. Forget about overnight delivery. It would take forever to get somewhere. On the other hand, it would take these knuckleheads a lot longer to get to Copenhagen to develop their new ways to ruin life as we know it. The warmists can't have you thinking about the things that they're telling you. They can't have you even going outside, or for that matter, even looking out your window to see the earliest snowfall in Houston, Texas history last Friday. Tonight, they're expecting the first snowfall since 1976 in Sacramento, California. Al Gore was just interviewed in Outside magazine and was asked, how do you talk to these climate change naysayers? He said the answer is, he doesn't. Now, here's the exact quote. The denial movement is in its sunset phase. Really? As IPCC scientists and NASA global warming propagandists are being shown to have faked, deleted, manipulated facts to make their case, that's the movement in the sunset phase? He continued, and they're putting on a spectacular display just before they fade. The scientific evidence is so overwhelming now, and people are seeing the changes all around them. Yes, they are, like snow in Houston. He had more. Older people are telling their grandchildren these patterns are different. Farmers are no longer able to predict the arrival of rainfall. What? Really? None of their fabulous computer models, not one, predicted the current 10-year cooling trend we're in now? And the farmers in the 1930s, I'm pretty sure they couldn't predict the rainfall during the Dust Bowl. But I digress. Al added, people who look for birds are finding dramatic shifts in their range. They must not watch Glenn Beck. Now, I'm not sure how to take that last comment from the mighty Goracle. Is he saying that those people must not watch me because if they did, I could tell the farmers and the bird watchers, why these things are happening, or at least that it's not because of their tailpipe? Or is it that he is just so fragile in his beliefs that he is telling people not to watch my show because his argument falls apart as soon as people hear any fact in this debate, rather than the lies, distortion, and the destruction of the truth? Since he's told us time and time again that the debate is over, I tend to think it is the latter, especially in the light of the Diane Sawyer interview about a month ago. Do we have it? Remember? She was like, hey, Glenn Beck said you shouldn't eat meat. And he's like, he was a little uncomfortable. Yeah. Al, I don't think the sun is setting on the global warming people. You know what I mean? You're the one putting on the spectacular display just before you fade. It doesn't get more spectacular than raining polar bears. Again, disturbing video. Yeah. The evidence now coming out against this doesn't make global warming arguments fade. This argument will have the same demise as these polar bears. It is going to come crashing down to Earth quickly. And by the way, the average weight of a polar bear is about the same as 37 fake global warming scientists spewing climate change lies. How about I produce an ad that shows those guys falling out of the sky? Hey, if I did, do you think the mainstream media might then start reporting, lies and scare tactics?
Still don't know what to get your boring coworker for Christmas? Why not get a copy of Arguing with Idiots? Then at least the next time you get stuck in the elevator together, he'll have something interesting to say. Available at glennbeck.com/bookczar.
I have tried to warn you about this administration. Back in September, I said this about Cass Sunstein. He's really dangerous because nobody sees him coming. Nobody sees the power that this man has. And while he's not a radical, his views are radical. I've called him the most dangerous man in Washington because nobody sees him coming. Back in June, I warned you and I warned Congress about this. I think Congress is overplaying their hand. More importantly, I think they're being outplayed and outmaneuvered. I think they're making themselves irrelevant to a massive new federal framework that Obama seems to be erecting, and with all kinds of czars and everything else. And they're going to find themselves out in the parking lot asking themselves, how the heck did this happen? Watch as these two things that I warned you about come together now. They are connected. Today, diplomats from all over the world kicking off the 2-week UN climate change conference in Copenhagen. Everybody says, oh, no, nothing's going to happen there. Really? Well, here back at home, they're not worried about it. The Environmental Protection Agency and the Obama administration have moved now towards regulating greenhouse gases without that pesky, irrelevant Congress getting in the way. The EPA just ruled that carbon dioxide, let me explain what carbon dioxide is. That's air. That's carbon dioxide, along with 5 other greenhouse gases, endanger humans and now have to be regulated. This was the next step after the Supreme Court in 2007 ruled and saying that carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases are pollutants under the Clean Air Act. The EPA had to determine whether or not the gases were harmful to humans. Well, lo and behold, they just did. Now, if we could just find somebody who was into regulation, we have the regulatory czar. Oh, isn't that great? Cass Sunstein can now regulate companies who emit these gases. By the way, the companies that are the biggest offenders are power plants, coal-fired powered plants, factories, cars. So the same White House who just held a jobs summit last week has just made a major